All right, everybody, we got Charlie Blackman here. We'll go ahead and start with Patrick. Go ahead, Pat.
Good afternoon, Charlie. How are you doing?
Hey, Patrick.
Couple questions for you to start off. One, I wanted to ask you about Ryan McMahon. You've seen him come up in the organization, seen him grow up in the organization. Can you just share with me some of the things you've seen in him in terms of maturity as a player, teammate, and person?
Sure. Actually doing a really good job for us right now. He's always been a good defender, surprisingly good defender, and he's continuing to do that. And he's always had the offensive tools. We've seen the power, we've seen the doubles and the ability to make contact. And I think he's just making his misses smaller, right? He's having more success because he's had more big league at bats and more experience. And I feel like his ups and downs are getting a little bit closer together and being a little more consistent. And so I think that's part of every player's journey is making those adjustments and trying to be a consistent player.
And the personality side, the maturity side, I mean, I think it's fair to say that anybody who comes up as a young player is going to be, I'm not going to say overwhelmed or anything like that. I don't think that's fair. But he certainly seems, from my vantage point, more comfortable as a big league ball player. Would you agree with that? And if so?
Yes. Yeah, I think so. Part of it, he's playing well right now, right? That helps everybody with their confidence and lets them be comfortable in their own skin. And I do think he's had some ups and downs in the past, and he struggled before, and he's overcome those struggles. And I think just knowing that you can overcome some of those dips in your productivity gives you confidence and allows you to play better without having to worry about playing bad.
Okay. And my second question or set of questions for you, you said more than one occasion this year that those of us outside the clubhouse, the media and the fans, we really don't know what we think we know. And I agree with you. I think that's true. We don't know what's said, what goes on, et cetera. So given that you guys are off to not a very good start, what can you tell us about the mood of the team, the atmosphere, the tone of the team right now?
I think guys know that we're better than what our record may say. We've had some tough breaks early. We had a tough road trip. Had a chance to win some games that were heartbreaking losses. I think that's something that most of my teammates look at as part of the process, right? Like we've got some growing pains, some early season jitters to get out. Like we see the potential. We haven't quite got there yet, but I think everybody is pretty confident that potential is a successful baseball team. We've seen flashes of it, and that we think we're going to get there at some point this season.
Okay. Thank you, Charlie. I appreciate it. I'll step out of the way for somebody else.
Go ahead, Thomas.
Charlie, where do you feel that you are with the swing, with the approach, with everything, with how you feel right now?
I feel like my swing is fine. I'm doing a pretty good job of swinging at the right pitches for the most part. So all of my things that I generally concern myself with, all of my processes aren't bad. I don't think it's necessarily translated into a ton of success in the box yet, but I think it will. I'm pretty sure this isn't my worst start. I think we kind of have a conversation like this frequently. But I feel pretty good. I feel like I haven't been great yet. I don't feel locked in. I haven't felt locked in yet, and that's going to happen at some point during the season. And I think I'm getting pretty close.
You have had a lot more experience with this, and you're right. We seem to have a conversation like this relatively early in a lot of years. A lot of guys on that team have not been through some of the things that you have. Do you find yourself, like we talked about in spring training, trying to help those guys through it, or is it enough just to get into the box and face a guy throwing, major league stuff?
It's tougher to have that conversation with your teammates when you yourself are struggling. It's easier when you're playing really well to help somebody else out. But I think I've struggled quite a bit at times in my career. I know that's part of the game. I mean, that's really the one thing you need to learn in this game is how to deal with failure. And I've had lots of failures, so I've dealt with it quite a bit. So I don't feel as panicked or anything like that, like I might have felt when I was younger. I revert back to like what I said earlier. I'm focused on my processes. My swing needs to feel good. I need to swing at the right pitches. I'm doing those things. So it's just a matter of time before things go really well for me personally, I believe. And I think it's important for me to look around at some of the other guys who are maybe not being as productive as they'd like to be, and just kind of let them know that this game is cyclical. There's ups and downs, and it's never as bad as it seems, and it's never as good as it seems on the other side. So I think that's it's important for me to have that no panic mindset and try and have that rub off on other guys around me.
I know Buddy's talked about that. There have been some cases where guys that maybe haven't had as much experience have come up in big situations. Those haven't always worked out, but he feels like it will work out for them. Do you feel like, though, that the guys have been at least around long enough to understand that you cannot panic on April 20th?
Oh, yeah. I mean, we've got 140 something games left. I mean, it's ridiculous to really even look at your record yet. You haven't really even settled into the season. We've got guys that only have, not even 10 at bats or not even 5 innings. It's just so early to start looking at big picture standings and stuff like that. It's really not helpful.
Hey, one more question on McMahon, just to kind of dovetail on Patrick. I noticed this year there's less effort in the batter's box. He's always had a good eye in there. The walks aren't up because it looks like people are challenging him in the zone. Is that sometimes the last thing to come, that on-base component? Drawing walks, being able to force a pitcher out of the strike zone.
Yeah, it's really hard to walk if you're not scaring people, right? Like if you're not hitting for damage or for power, people are just going to throw you strikes. It's helpful to hit in front of Trevor Story, right? That helps you. People don't want you on base with Trevor Story hitting. That helps McMahon get good pitches to hit. But once guys start doing everything they can do to get you out, which I'm sure they'll start doing soon to him because he's playing well. Then I think it becomes a little harder, right? You're getting pure fastballs. Guys are okay, really trying to hit the corners and making your pitch selection a little more difficult rather than just throwing you a strike because they don't want to walk you. No discredit to Ryan. I mean, he's doing a good job, and his play discipline is really good. So I don't think that'll affect him.
Hey, thank you, man.
Next, we'll go to Owen Perkins. Go ahead, Owen.
Hey, Charlie. Just wanted to follow up a little bit on where we are in the season, and I think what you're saying about the individual stats being early has obviously a lot of truth to it. when you look at the team though, and even with all the close games and the well-played games and being in every game, the record isn't turning out, as you say, reflecting the team you think you are. When does the sense of urgency jump in? When do you have to start feeling that urgency? And knowing that, the last 2 playoff appearances, one, it took an extra game to make it in the season, and one, you missed the Western title by 1 game. So these 1 games make a big difference down the road.
Sure, they all count, right? And I'm not trying to say that it doesn't matter that we're off to a bad start. I'm just saying it's still so early that it's definitely something that we can overcome. And I don't really ever think that panicking is going, or like saying, oh my gosh, we can't do this or that now because of our record. I don't think that really helps you at any point during the season. So I don't really have that in my playbook. It would be concerning to have it be in the second half and have us, not be anywhere close to where we need to be. I mean, I guess that's maybe what you want to hear, but I don't think I still think it's early. It's going to be early for another, month. And I certainly don't expect us to let games slip away from us, in a month's time, like we have early in the season.
Great, thanks. That's very helpful. Thank you.
All right, we'll finish off with Mark Stout. Go ahead, Mark.
Hey, Chuck, how are you? I got a few things. I was kind of hoping to break down that relay throw to McMahon to Fuentes from the Mets game. Can you just give me a few things on that play in particular? Like, you picking the ball up the wall, getting it in fast, and how it all kind of developed in front of you?
Yeah, the ball is hit on the line, which is never easy because you don't know. There's a couple different angles there. It's a mistake to get too close to the corner because then if it doesn't bounce like you think, it'll get by you. Then you have to turn around, change direction, and then go pick it up. I mean, that's going to be an automatic triple. So you kind of have to slow play it until you have a really good idea what angle it's going to bounce off of. That particular one hit on that 45-degree angle, so I kind of knew where it was going to bounce. So I tried to beat it to the spot, and it sure enough came right to me. And then I was able to get a pretty good throw to Mac, and then he put a really strong relay throw to Fuentes, who put a good tag on him. I mean, everything came together for that out, and that was definitely a good opportunity to save a run.
Do you see Mac like out of peripheral vision, or are you just kind of thrown to a spot knowing that that's basically where he should be, and that's the play?
I have to start throwing before I pick him up. I have a pretty good idea of where he's going to be, so I know where I'm looking, but I don't really get eyes on him until my arm's really coming forward. So it's kind of, I'm throwing it in trust that he is where he's supposed to be. And sure enough, he was there.
Right, I get it. Hey, do you know Michael Brantley at all? I know he's in the other league. He's like a year younger than you, but I don't know. If I'm saying I see some similarities and you think I'm wrong, let me know. But maybe you've watched him, and thought about it.
I know of him. He's certainly a good player. Been doing it for a while. He's a really good fundamental player and does a lot of things well on the field.
Okay.